right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your favorite underwater host, Sharky, and welcome back to Gauntlet Ascension. In tonight's matchup, we're going to be having the Rogues versus the Stochastic squad. Both teams looking pretty strong going into the second half of the season. The Rogues currently 1-1 for the second half, looking to take this match here and even out their match record once again. Stochastic squad still gunning for that second place, as the Millionaires had lost their most recent match. Well, both our players are warming up. Let's go ahead and check that out. If players want same piece sets, then we can get this. I can get you guys the seed generated. All right, it looks like we do have readies on both of our players' side. Let's go ahead and get them counted down to match number 1 here between the Rogues and the Stochastic squad. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. So we have Firedox playing in his first ever Ruby match after recently getting a 1.1 and is going up against Ian Keith. It's been a long time Ruby, and on the cusp of technically beating a Transcendent, I believe about a Tetris and a little change away. But we don't know when that PB game will come. When it does, it'll be exciting. Something that is exciting, though, is these pieces that we're kind of receiving for both players. Not necessarily rough by any means. As a matter of fact, they are quite ideal. However, Firedox is being forced to utilize a lot of the long bars just for building up on the stack. Ian Keith is able to build up an early lead. Looks like we were running into our first major drought here. Firedox finds the long bar, able to use it for a Tetris. Ian Keith hangs pieces over to the left, and that's going to be wraps. Ian Keith tops out at 142. Firedox only needs a couple more burn lines. And that's going to do it. Firedox takes game number 1. Unfortunate early top out from Ian Keith. Just unable to get any pieces over to the left. All right, let's go and get them counted down. Game number 2, here we go in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Unfortunate early top out right there for Ian Keith. Just really bad positioning for that one drought. Maybe a little bit of commentator's curse on my part. But game 1 has already been written in the books. It's time we open up the next chapter and see what game 2 has in store for us. As both players have gotten a Tetris on the board, and Keith has found a second one. Firedox going for a delayed Vitz. It's definitely not working out in his favor. It's going to be quite the costly mistake. Had a T-piece dependency, now has no way to really navigate through these holes. Does find one T-piece for the T-spin. And an opportunity like that is something that Ian Keith is going to be primed to take advantage of. .132 now for Ian Keith. Firedox almost back into a scoring position. Just going to be looking for one more piece to burn it out. Not going to use the eye piece. Decides to use it then. Creates a long bar dependency as a result. 158 for Ian Keith here at 46 lines. 121 for Firedox at 53. Great elevated burn for Ian Keith, and you can see that he approves as well. currently a 3 Tetris lead in Ian Keefe's favor. There is Tetris for Firedox. Both players seem to be in a comfortable spot right now. $325 for Ian Keith, $284 for Firedox. Firedox has closed the gap slightly. Where Ian Keith still holds on to the advantage. Nice trip over there for Firedox. Double J dependent. Had to use 2 eyepieces to fill in some dependencies. And there's another, finally able to score Tetris. And Keith was able to make better use of those eyepieces. It's at 418 at the moment. This Firedox creates a long bar dependency in column 5. Not able to get a piece all the way over. And that didn't seem like that's where he wanted to go. He's going to be looking for an L piece to go over to the left. No, decides to go for the J vert. It's going to bring the stack down. Much more survivable position. With that, the well is going to be open, and Firedox knocks in a Tetris. Going to be safe leading into the transition as we are less than 12 lines away. 3 Tetrises is available for Firedox, and Ian Keith is at 490. We'll be reaching the transition. There it is, a 444 transition for Firedox. And Ian Keith is going to follow up with a 563 transition. 100,000 point lead for Ian Keith here. As both players hit level 19, Firedox is really going to have to dig deep. Both players trying to get set up for their first Tetris. Ian Keith finds one going into level 20. And so does Firedox, 496 to 591. And Ian Keith really focusing on throwing those squares all the way over to the left. There's the Tetris for Firedox. Beautifully built out left over here for Ian Keith. He's got the right side filled in. Firedox, a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, but knocks down a Tetris and holds out for all the right pieces, going for the aggressive tucks. Knocks down another Tetris, 575 for Firedox. 623 for Ian Keith. Goes up to 653. Firedox has closed the gap slightly, but not enough to make a sizable dent. Both players on level 22. Ian Keith is in a little bit of trouble as Firedox knocks down another Tetris. Ian Keith in a must-survive position. That left side, that might be wraps. Ian Keith unable to get anything over the left. Tops out at 662. Firedox has a chase down of 663. Tremendous post-transition play over here from Firedox so far. A Tetris and a single should do it. There's the Tetris, and there's the single. Firedogs takes game number 2. Native 7 off a low mid 400. Not bad. We already have readies and rearing to go. Let's go ahead and get these two players counted down as Firedogs is on match point, making a stellar debut as a Ruby. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Start things off. Firedogs having to operate on an elevated height here. Looked like for a second was going to set up for something dirty, but deciding to burn it out. Does have a couple of games to play with, as Ian Keefe kind of struggling to deal with these pieces as well. Firedogs has burned all the way down to the bottom. Nice T-spin over there for Ian Keefe. Just gained access over to the left side. Set up for a slightly dirty left well, but now has some holes that need to be dealt with. 152 for Firedogs, 142 for Ian Keefe. Still a pretty close game. Firedogs is in right well scoring position. Ian Keefe trying to get set up for something in the center here on column 7. Able to knock down a Tetris, but still going to have to do a little bit of burning. And that formation on the left-hand side is a bit annoying to deal with. A little bit over the halfway mark, roughly 2/3 actually. Ian Keefe does get the well open, able to find the long bar, knocks down a Tetris. Firedogs holding on to a pretty comfortable lead. It's of course head by a Tetris in terms of lines, but more in terms of score. $313 for Ian Keefe. Decided to make that adjustment to get set up for the Tetris. Just gonna have to do some burns afterwards to compensate. Does get a T-piece. Interestingly, doesn't go for the tuck. Instead goes for the flat burn. Firedogs maintaining a 40,000 point lead as Ian Keefe is caught up in lines. Firedogs transitions at 485, bringing the stack into a more scoreable position. Ian Keefe still looking to transition with the next line clear. And there it is. Ian Keefe transitions at a 440, already knocks in a Tetris. Currently a 1 Tetris lead for Firedogs. Knocks down another one as Ian Keefe finds the long bar, fills in the dependency. There it is, Tetris for Firedogs. 585 to now 531. Tetris for Ian Keefe, 676. Firedox tops out 657, so Ian Keith is good. Takes game number 3. Go ahead and get them counted down to game number 4. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. So Ian Keith avoids getting swept. However, Firedox is still on match point. And Ian Keith was able to take game number 3 pretty convincingly. Had a stronger post-transition. $171 for Ian Keith, $148 for Firedox. Firedox not put in a scoring position. $205 for Firedox, $247 for Ian Keith. And both players have gotten boards under control. And interestingly, Firedox was unable to utilize both of those long bars for a Tetris. Was 1 Mino shy. 322 for Ian Keith. Starting to get up a little bit high and actually commits to opening up the well first and deciding to deal with the L piece dependency later. Definitely a risky decision, especially if the L piece doesn't come. But the triple is scored. The well just needs to be opened. And the well gets open, and Ian Keith is proud of that survival. Could have costed him the match. .428 for Ian Keith. We are closing in on the level 19 transition. Both players are up decently high with elevated stacks, and that misdrop might actually be fatal for Firedox. Unless something can make it over to the right-hand side. It doesn't. Firedox tops out at 383. Ian Keith successfully forces a decider. All right, both players are ready. Let's go ahead and get them counted down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Firedox took the lead 2-0. However, Ian Keith clawed this back, and we are now tied 2-2. This is the decider. Next game takes it all and is going to win the first point for the respective team. That being said, both players have gotten a Tetris on the board. Ian Keith taking a conservative double. As a matter of fact, we're going to be separated by half a single on pushdown points. And both players are able to find the Tetris there. Firedox able to be just a tad bit more efficient here in the opener. But either way, a pretty competitively stacked opener from both players. The J-piece dependency is present on the board for Ian Keith. Gets it filled, one Mino shy being able to utilize that long bar for a Tetris, but also Firedox not with the traditional right wheel setup either. Looks like it's going to be operating out of a column 6. He's able to knock it down. Is given the option to try and maintain or to abstain. It looks like he's going to abstain and go for back to the traditional column 10. Ian Keith still trails by a Tetris, and that should be the equalizer. 144 to now 142. As Firedox looking for specific pieces, long bar dependent now. Gets it filled and missed out a perfect burn opportunity on the square. So just a lot of burns being forced over here on Firedox's side. Not trying to take too many risks or go for too many ambitious setups. And that kind of conservative play has allowed Ian Keefe to build up a 2 Tetris lead. 214 for Ian Keefe at 47 lines. 156 for Firedox at 45. Firedox now back in a scoring position as both players continue to stack here as we close upon our halfway mark. There it is. Tetris for Ian Keith. 270 to now 234. 2 Tetris lead here in the decider. As both players having to deal with various issues on the left side. Great delay burn set up over there, utilizing that J over there from Ian Keith. Firedox has closed the gap, down by now half a Tetris. But Ian Keith is going to continue to grow that separation. Ian Keith getting up a bit uncomfortably high. It appears that we're in the midst of a drought. Ian Keith not going for any burns. Has to get the long bar over. Just narrowly does. Knocks down 2 quick Tetrises. Perfect L piece, but is actually going to go for the split triple. And Ian Keith is back down to the bottom. Escaping Death's grasp once again. Firedox also trailing by 30,000 points, so there was some efficiency gained playing up that high. However, some efficiency will be lost given the burns that had to be sacrificed there. And just like that, Firedox has closed the gap back to 10,000 points once again. But both players actually running into kind of similar stacking issues. It's going to be a dirty Tetris for Ian Keith. 381 to now 345. Firedox has locked in. Has to get out of this. Must survive. It's going to be a triple. Builds in the L piece dependency over there to the left. Or to the right. And just slowly but meticulously down stacking. And Firedox is actually going to commit to the dirty Tetris here. Row 3 knocks one down. So does Ian Keith. 413 and now 382. Level 19 is less than 20 lines away. Ian Keith can afford 3 Tetrises, and so can Firedox. But Firedox is going to spend some of those lines on just getting back to the right-hand side. And keep looking for ideal pieces for a good setup. It's going to not take the skim just yet. Finally decides to take the skim with the L. Knocks down a Tetris. 441 to now 411. Tetris for Firedox. 1 more remains for him. Now 1 more remains for Ian Keith following this one. Ian Keith's going to transition. 464. Can't get the O piece all the way over to the left. Hits the quick tap though. Not trying to go for any flat burns just yet. Trying to avoid burning. Holding out for the long bar. Long bar doesn't come. There's the Tetris for Firedox. Down by 9,000 points. Ian Keith must survive this. Firedox also in a digging situation. Both players finding ways to navigate through, burning the stack down to the bottom. Firedox opens up the well, knocks in a Tetris and takes the lead. Ian Keith opens up the well too, but waiting on the next long bar. There it is, Tetris for Firedox, Tetris for Ian Keith, 501 and now 514. Small adjustment over there for Ian Keith. Left side needs to be addressed. Now there's a J piece dependency on the left side. I piece comes, perfect timing. Tetris for Ian Keith back into the lead as Firedox is having to do some cleanup. Another Tetris for Ian Keith solidifies a 1 Tetris lead in his favor. But pieces are starting to get complicated for Ian Keith. It's going to be a triple. And now Ian Keith's going to be forced to burn this out. And these pieces aren't the best to do so. There's a Tetris for Firedox, closing the gap once again. 552 to now 568. Ian Keith goes for the column 3 as Firedox struggles to get the board into a scoring position, and Firedox might actually get set up for the column 3 as well. There it is, column 3 for Firedox, 590 to now 598. It is the closest game as you can get, and Ian Keefe has a lot of dependencies that need to be addressed. 603 now for Ian Keefe, 594 for Firedox. Ian Keefe goes to commit to the triple. Firedox needs to get this well open. The well is open now, waiting on the long bar, not trying to go for the burn, but the long bar comes. There's the Tetris, and Firedox takes the lead. 628 to now 615. Ian Keefe gets that left side addressed. Meanwhile, Firedox also having issues on the left side. Ian Keefe with a pristine board, just trying to get Tetris ready, trying to take the lead back. Tetris ready now, waiting on the next long bar. JP goes all the way over to the left-hand side, but the long bar is nowhere to be found. Eyepiece comes at just the right time. It was almost do or die for Ian Keefe as he takes the lead with that Tetris. However, Firedox trying to get back into scoring position, this time setting up for the column 6, and knocks down the column 6. Tetris for Firedox, back into the lead, 671 to now 655. Ian Keefe commits to the tuck, able to find the necessary birds, needs to get the well open, wasn't able to utilize that long bar for a Tetris. It's a little bit of a misdrop, but still knocks it down, back into the lead, 692 to now 679. Beautiful burns being set up over there from Ian Keefe. However, it is neck and neck. Firedox is set up for a Tetris, knocks it down, back into the lead, 711 now for Firedox as he's continuing to hit the gas here. Ian Keefe setting up for something a little bit off center, but still knocks it down. And Firedox, that was the triple. Ian Keefe still holds on to the lead, but the hang, there's still a chance if Ian Keefe can bring the stack down. He's holding out for a J piece, finds the J piece. Left side is now accessible. Hits the crucial quick tap. Firedox trying to get set up for a couple of last Tetrises. We are closing in on 29. The limit. Firedox sets up for a column 3. Knocks it down. Takes the lead. That could have been the dagger. He has to go for one more though. Ian Keefe trying to set up for 2. Waiting on the next long bar. There it is. Tetris for Ian Keefe, 788. But a Tetris for Firedox. Ian Keefe needs something. He needs anything. He's not finding anything. And Firedox clutches out the decider by less than a Tetris. Stochastic squad takes the first match of this set. And Firedox, as his Ruby debut, plays an absolutely stellar match. What a game. And what a way to start off this match here between the Stochastic squad and the Rogues. However, the match is not over. We still have plenty more to play. Don't go anywhere, because we will be right back. Real quick, Jano, thank you so much for the raid. Really appreciate it. Javin T, thank you for the raid as well. And I guess you rated on quite a good game, Jano. Yeah, I really appreciate it. All right, getting our next match set up. Ian Kanetsu versus 20 Dan. Ian Keep is not Ian Keep. Ian Kinetsu is currently having some technical issues with the stream, so bear with us as we continue to get things set up here. And that was one of the more hype Ruby matches that I've commentated. At least I was able to commentate something good. waiting to hear back. I think Ian is now live, actually. Yeah, just went live. Sweet. If both players are capable of doing the same piece sets and would like to, feel free to speak up now. Thank you for the raid. Seems like the camera was doing or caused the issue, so it's like we'll just have Ian not play with camera this time around. So both players have decided whether or not they want to do same piece sets or they have readies. Looks like 20 Dan says can do same piece sets. Up to Ian to either accept or decline. Can give it a refresh to double check. About to get hit with another ad though. I mean, maybe capture card is frozen? Question mark? Because right now it just shows you hovering on pace, like on your stream too. Oh, now the stream is offline. Alright. Oh, there we go. Alright, looks like we got it ready from both players. Let's go ahead and get them counted down. We go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Ian did not go on SPS mode, just went and played on Tetris, so we're not on the same presets. Also, we're just going on. So both players, if you can hear me, go ahead and top out since it wasn't done on the same presets. And Ian, lower your bit rate to like 1500 as opposed to 4000. Yeah, new seed. Know why OBS is working correctly. So just increment. Or my bad. There's seed 63, 16, 48. Thank you for the follow, Thomas. Stream frozen again? Bitrate is lowered. Wow. This is... might be something I can do. We'll give this another go. Hopefully. Alright, let's go ahead and get this players counted down. We go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Yeah, stream's just frozen. Yeah, go ahead and top out 20 Dan. And then we'll get Ian Keith to substitute. I'm gonna try and get Ian Keith pulled up. Unfortunate that this happened, but yeah, there's just there's nothing I can do. Ah well, man. Let me get Ian Keith's stream pulled up. I guess we'll head into intermission. Too much stuff is going wrong today. It's freaking ridiculous. Both players are ready. Let's go and get them counted down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Start things off, 20 Dan having to do quite a bit of burns here. But able to finally get a Tetris on the board. 47,000 for Ian Keith. 28 for 20 Dan. A lot of S's there. Almost had a tie game there for a moment. Seeing Keith looking for one piece to help burn this out. 20 Dan, on the other hand, is taking the lead slightly. And Keith does get the well open. No real way to burn. Ooh, I love that T placement, though. But goes for the aggressive L burn. Looking for an eye piece. This drought is massive. Needs to get the J piece over to the left. Nice quick tap. Staying alive through this drought, because, oh man, this is a gauntlet drought if I've seen one. Dude, where's the long bar? Bro, the long bar just does not exist. There it is. Tetris for Ian Keith. Amazing survival. It's going to get another one as well. And 20 Dan couldn't use the eyepiece for the Tetris there. But can use the next one, but a long bar dependency was built up in the center of the stack. What a brutal drought. But after all is said and done, the dust has settled for at least that part of the game. And 20 Dan has a slight advantage in pace. Ian Keith with the real-time lead as 20 Dan sets up for a column 7. Knocks it down. Could potentially go for one more. Looks like exactly what he aims to do. It looks like he's going to actually continue to try and maintain this center well. With a 6-3 stack, very favorable in modern Tetris. And if you play your cards right, could be sustainable in classic Tetris too. Ian Keefe, massive spire built up. 20 Dan hits, no, doesn't hit the T-spin. But it's still really close game. Ian Keefe deciding to bring that back. 270 and now 267. $317 now for Ian Keith. And Ian Keith trying to survive the issues. We are closing in on level 19 too, so definitely want to get the stack into a more favorable position. We'll go and commit to the triple. 391 for 20 Dan. Still a couple lines to go for 20, or not 29. Got a lot of lines to go before 29. But a couple lines to go for 19 for Dan. Ian Keith has already transitioned. 20 Dan will transition on the next two line clears. And there it is. Tetris for 20 Dan transitioning at 462. Ian Keith already at level 20, down by 100,000. $531 for 20 Dan, 410 for Ian Keith. 20 Dan still holding on to this lead. $479 now for Ian Keefe. $620 for 20 Dan. As 20 Dan knocks down Tetris, and so does Ian Keefe. Both players with some pretty clean stacks. No Tetris for Ian Keith. 604 to now 689. Starting to make the comeback, down by 2 Tetrises. 20 Dan has to survive this. $20 Dan able to get pieces over to the left, but that's going to be a top out at 696. It's not over though. Ian Keith needs 2 triples at this point. And some change, or Tetris will be good enough, and that Tetris allows Ian Keith to take game number 1, making the comeback throughout that game. I think I need to take an important phone call. If I can... Hold on. Down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Thank you, Jacobo, for the T1 sub for 23 months. Really appreciate it. Playoffs will be starting this summer. $115 for Ian Keith, 94 for 20 Dan. $213 for Ian Keith, 177 for 20 Dan. $271 for Ian Keith, $261 for 20 Dan, and a perfect clear for 20 Dan as well. $418, or make that $424 for Dan, $430 for Ian Keith. 457 transition for 20 Dan, 450 for Ian Keith. Ian Keith tops out at 454, so 20 Dan is good for game number 2. Three, two, one, Tetris. $131 for Ian Keith, $145 for 20 Dan. 330 for Ian Keith, 365 to 20 Dan. Sucks. 503 for 20 Dan, 452 for Ian Keith. We are closing in on the level 19 transition. We are currently tied 1-1. Sorry for the lackluster commentary. It's been a lot happening. Two Tetrises remain available for both players. 20 Dan would have to play perfect. So now just one Tetris left. Both players wait for the next long bar. And a drought right before transition. Very typical. There's the Tetris for 20 Dan transitioning at 578. Ian Keith's going to transition at 489. Looking for the long bar, and it comes just as soon as the piece was hung on the left. Ian Keith's going to bring the stack down by 3 rows following another eyepiece. And is now focusing on getting the board under control. Beautiful setup. Now can just focus on bringing the left side down. Starting to go for right. Well, Tetris is 20 Dan in the midst of surviving here. Long bar dependent on the left-hand side. Able to get it over. Still in the lead by 100,000, but not in a position to score. However, Ian Keith, as soon as he can build up, can try and utilize this to close the gap at least by a Tetris. As 20 Dan is almost out of this entirely. Both players now getting built up for a Tetris. Ian Keith looking for this long bar. It's not showing up. Actually goes for the aggressive placement. Gets the eyepiece over. Hits the quick tap to the left. And should be that Ian Keith should be able to manage these pieces. That eyepiece is going to be perfect. Burns out a triple. Just needs to get more pieces over to that left-hand side. Decides to go O to the left. Tetris for 20 Dan. 706 for him. 576 for Ian Keith. Ian Keith still trying to work on this. 20 Dan with over 100,000 point lead. Both players still alive here. Missed spin over there for 20 Dan. It's going to complicate things slightly, but Ian Keith is not in a position to capitalize. $596 for Ian Keith. Make that 627. 20 Dan at 737. Nice quick taps over here, but didn't have dazzle on the eyepiece, so couldn't use it for a Tetris. And couldn't get the pole vault just quite. I think that's going to be wraps. Nothing that Ian Keith can do. It's going to top it at 665. 20 Dan is good for game number 3. Let's go ahead and get these two players counted down. Once again, I apologize for commentary quality today. things will get better. It's probably not immediately. Both players do appear to be starting on the same piece. Says 20 Dan off to an advantage. And start off, the beginning of the game was actually a little bit turbulent. Keep was able to navigate through it with pretty good ease. 20 Dan, on the other hand, experienced a little bit of troubles towards the beginning. But both players should be pretty even. Oh, massive parity issue over here for Ian Keith. Gonna be looking for specific pieces that'll clean that up. Dan playing a little bit with fire. Actually, both players kind of spiraling up towards the center. A lot of O pieces. $172 now for 20 Dan. Ian Keith at 190. You know what would be the funniest thing? Is if these two teams match up against each other first round in the playoffs. Because that means you'd see a lot more possibilities of 20 Dan versus Ian Keith. And it is quite possible. The way that the team records look, it's definitely in the hands of the player, or yeah, in the hands of the teams. Great play over here from both players as they knock down Tetris's 233 for Ian Keith, 250 for 20 Dan. That was a triple, not a Tetris. Nice tuck over there for 20 Dan. Long bar dependent. Didn't quite get it when the well was open, and now 20 Dan's going to be in quite the dig. Ian Keith with a pristine stack. Was looking primed to build up an early lead. Well, I say early, but a mid-game lead. 312 for 20 Dan, 384 for Ian Keith. Both players prepare for the level 19 transition. 20 Dan will be there in 2 lines, Ian Keith in 7, and would like an eyepiece sooner rather than later. Duel is open. Beautiful draw management. There's the long bar. Clutch timing, but it's not good enough. There's another one, and that's going to be perfect. Ian Keith survives 435. 20 Dan is at 344. Definitely sighs of relief can be breathed over there for Ian Keith. Was at the cusp of topping out, at the cusp of Stochastic Squad going up 2-0. But hope has been kept alive. And Espen was missed. 20 Dan down by 100,000 points is going to be spending the rest of the post-transition trying to play catch-up, as long as Ian Keith can still maintain a pretty respectable Tetris rate. Great placements over here from Ian Keith. Skim and is now Tetris ready. Tetris for Ian Keith goes up to 498. 20 Dan is at 389. No Tetris for 20 Dan. Tetris for Ian Keith as well. 526 to now 415. 20 Dan would love to get an S piece. Hits the spin. Very crucial right there. And actually gets the J piece over to the left. The best placement requiring some tapping speed to get it over. And that's not going to be a Tetris. It's going to be a triple. 20 Dan actually going to operate off of row 2 here. Trailing by 130,000 points as Ian Keith opens up the well, keeping it open, knocks down a Tetris. Now it's going to have to re-establish the board. This opportunity for 20 Dan. Ian Keith is not going to be in a scoring position unless he decides to go aggressive and go for dirty Tetrises. And speaking about going for dirty Tetrises, that's exactly what Ian Keith is setting up for, and knocks one down. Continuing to put pressure on 20 Dan while not having the most ideal board states. As a matter of fact, Ian Keith could be prepping to get set up for a... maybe an early dash shift right there is going to be forced to burn. 160,000 points is Ian Keith's lead at the moment. And we're in level 25. 20 Dan is going to have to start scoring and have to start scoring soon. However, Ian Keith cannot quite relax either. The top out here gives 20 Dan enough time to complete the chase down. There's a Tetris for 20 Dan. Ian Keith looking for specific pieces. Another Tetris for 20 Dan, down by 100,000 points. At this point in the game, that's only 3 Tetrises. Ian Keith trying to get set up. Pieces making it over to the left. There's another Tetris for 20 Dan. Trying to make the comeback. Another Tetris for 20 Dan. Now down by 2. Ian Keith sets up for the column 4. Holding out for the long bar. Waiting patiently. Hitting the quick taps. Hits the T-spin. Where's the long bar? Nice skim. Where's the long bar? There's the long bar. Gets the Tetris. And another one. 20 Dan has to get 2 Tetrises now. The timing of those long bars was absolutely perfect for Ian Keith. 20 Dan setting up for a Tetris here. Ian Keith trying to go for, oh my gosh, a dirty Tetris to seal the deal. We are going to, once again, another decider. Katsugiri, thank you so much for the raid, party of 7. Hope you and Dan V had a fun time playing. Absolutely ridiculous finish. And man, Ian Keith, the perseverance there. Gotta give him props. Ten games is what Ian Keith has had to play. This will be his 10th as we head straight headfirst into another decider. But both players are ready. Let's get them counted down Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Very different approaches here in the opener, but the pressure is all the same. And Keith has once again forced a Game 5. It was a nail-biter up against Firedox. And that last game came down to the wire too. 20 Dan almost made the comeback, but Ian Keith getting 2 clutch Tetrises. And even a third dirty towards the end made all the difference. So we find ourselves here, game number 5. Both players have a couple of Tetrises on the board. 3 for Ian Keith, 3 for 20 Dan. And 20 Dan gonna continue to hold on to a slight lead. Had taken 2 more burn lines. So while the nominal lead might have been his for the moment, Ian Keith was able to take that back. But as of right now, amazing openers from both of these players. What you expect to see. Both players knocked down Tetris's 160 for Ian Keith, 140 for 20 Dan. Dan able to knock down a Tetris, but that hole is going to slightly complicate things. And oh, actually 20 Dan decides to go ahead and burn out. That is the thing, when you are in a decider, some of the moves that you might normally do earlier on in the set, you have to really consider if it's worth going that aggressive, if it's worth risking it all just for a slight increase in your efficiency. And you have to evaluate, really filter your decisions through that. There's no doubt there is a lot of pressure on both of these players here. And especially for one of them, battling up against fatigue. But something that's not fatigued are these scores. 325 for Ian Keith, a 288 for 20 Dan. So both players putting up some hot scores here. The best pace games that we've seen this entire set. And Ian Keith is continuing to steal the show, as 20 Dan is still combating certain pieces, not necessarily deadly situations just yet, but is being forced to go for less efficient solves, less efficient placements, and has allowed Ian Keith to surmount a 100, almost a 100,000 point lead. And both players are at identical line counts as well. So the pace advantage is there. We saw how much of a difference that made in the previous game. Both players starting to get up a little bit high. Eyepiece does come at a wonderful time. Tetris is scored for both. LNJ dependent. Now, still LNJ dependent for Ian Keith. Gets all the required pieces. Hits the spin. While players waiting on the next long bar. There's the Tetris for 20 Dan and the Tetris for Ian Keith. Great survivability and maneuverability for both players. We're closing in on the level 19 transition. Ian Keith in the 600k transition territory as he sets up this column 7. 20 Dan still having to do some burns. Set up for a column 9. Just gonna go ahead and burn it out. Transfer it back over to column 10. 4 Tetrises remain for both players. Ian Keefe and 20 Dan both find 1. And they're set up for another. 20 Dan does have to take a few burns, but does find the eyepiece. So does Ian Keith. We're heading into level 19. This is the decider. Can Ian Keith tie things up? Or will 20 Dan bring this 2-0 lead for the Stochastic squad? A 603 transition for Ian Keith, north of 500k for 20 Dan. Another touch is going to be scored over there for Ian Keith and 1 for 20 Dan as well. 550 now here. There's going to be another Tetris closing the gap. Ian Keith going to take the triple, opting for a conservative placement. And it's understandable, you had a near 100,000 point lead. The pressure is on 20 Dan to be efficient, to make the comeback. And 20 Dan, in the midst of digging, another eyepiece will be perfect towards the center. Holding out for it. And actually an overtap on the L piece. It's going to prolong the scoring opportunities for Ian Keith to extend the lead. 699 and now 591. Another Tetris for Ian Keith goes up to 725. Threatening max out pace here. Potentially even more. As 20 Dan still trying to get the board under control. Not quite in a scoring position. Left side needs to be addressed. And there is now a long bar dependency there. Ian Keith, conservative burn. And when you have a lead like this, it's fine to take those. 783 for Ian Keefe, 633 for 20 Dan. 20 Dan has gotten the board under control, but we're on level 23, down by 150,000 points. Similar situation to what we saw in the previous game. Now Ian Keefe is running into a slowdown. Massive numbers of S's, and there's a misdrop. Ian Keefe is now going to have to manage this, has to survive. And 20 Dan looking for the long bar, needs it right now. Where is it? It doesn't come. 20 Dan tops out at 661. Ian Keith takes game number 5. The Rogues tie up the match 1-1. Nail biter of a set. And Ian Keith, 10 games in, playing as strong as a game as this. With that being said, up next we're going to be having Coster versus Matt Martin. So we'll be getting them set up shortly. Don't go anywhere, because the Gauntlet action doesn't stop here. It keeps going. And let Ian Keefe max this out real quick, and then we'll head into our intermission. Dang, not even a triple would be enough. Wait, no freakish shot. No, it's too high. 992 though. Very respectable. Oh. Uh. Bill Jr. Thank you so much for the follow. Bill Jr. ID. Wait, is that Bill Jr.? Wait. I'm sorry, Roman numerals like kicked in for me, so when I read that as Bill Jr. the fourth. Yeah, millionaires are 83. Coster, Matt Martin has requested SPS. Oh yeah, millionaires, and grandmasters are locked in for playoffs. Like, it's actually mathematically impossible for them to not make playoffs. Wait, what the heck? Since when does Coster roll? Hold on a second. When did I miss this development? Zempro, the last time I commentated over Coster, he tapped. Or at least he mained tap. Okay, that makes sense, Zempro. Because I was like, wait a second. I was like, I know for a fact the last time I commentated over Coster, he was not rolling. Dude, Ian Keith's the champ. Dude went to a double decider back to back. Yo, it's Blue Scooty's grandpa. I guess I should pin the seed for Coster, just in case. How you doing, Blue Scooty's grandpa? W music timing. Song actually ended right when they both were ready. With that being said, let's go ahead and get our match between Matt Martin and Coster counted down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. As you can see, both players do in fact have the same piece sets and opening up with the same opener. Oh, never mind. Little differentiation over there from Matt. Costa able to score the first Tetris of the game. Matt finds the second. Ooh, nice simul Tetris there. Matt with the 1 lead. The 1 point lead. Costa are actually going to run into a bit of a slowdown, so Matt's going to be able to increase that lead. Slowdown's not going to be super massive. Matt deciding not to go for the S-spin there. Head off for the piece to tuck, as both players await the next long bar. Tetris for Matt Martin, 116 to now 122. Small lead has been held for Matt Martin so far. For both players just waiting on that next long bar. Tetris for Coster. And Tetris for Matt. Matt actually in position to capitalize off the next long bar too. Coster decided to use the eyepiece in column 8, I believe. Either way, very competitively stacked 18. Matt Martin with a slightly higher degree of efficiency. Not gonna be able to use that eyepiece for a Tetris, but can use the next one. 232 to now 197. A little bit over 45 lines in for both players. Classic Daz versus Tapper matchup, which actually Daz versus Tapper doesn't really happen too often. Speaking about tapping, Costa's gonna have to tap his way out of this one. Not the most difficult to burn out of, but definitely can cost some points. $328 for Matt Martin. $277 for Coster. Nice S-tuck over there for Coster. Trailing by 3 Tetrises and slightly ahead in lines too. Matt Martin actually not the one to push down a lot in this game. There's Tetris for Matt Martin. 398 to now 368. J-piece dependency is forced, but Matt Martin finds it. Both players with some really great stacks here. But of course, things will change when we head into the post-transition. Matt Martin is no stranger to performing well in high-pressure matches. Of course, probably the biggest sudden death moment that has happened to date was Matt Martin being able to shut down Miles when they played the Millionaires for their first match of the season. They really made a statement for themselves as a team that is a contender to definitely at least make the top 6. Costa being forced to do a lot of burning here. Does finally get the pieces that he's looking for and goes for the dependency. Well, it either been that or take a triple. So, most times you fill in a dependency. But the post transition does loom. Less than 10 lines away for Matt, less than 6 away from, or for Coster. More Tetris remains available. There is Coster's going to transition. 563. Matt Martin with a 634 transition. What a powerful start to this set as both players knock down Tetrises going into level 9, or in level 19, not going into, but in level 19. Both players getting set up for the next Tetris opportunity. Matt Martin is ready. Coster holding out for the long bar. Appears to be running into a drought, not put in a position to score. It's now a J-piece dependency over there for Matt. Holding out for the right pieces. Reopens up the well. Beautiful. Oh, the early shift! It was a perfect burn setup over there for Matt, but the early shift is going to complicate things. T-piece makes it all the way over to the left. Nice flat L placement. Needs some more help. Can't get the L piece over. Coster has to chase down a 672. What a devastating early shift that was. And that's going to be good enough. Coster takes game number 2. Or game number 1. Number 2 hasn't happened yet. All right, both players are ready. Get them counted down. We're going 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Really tricky opener here. At the beginning. But both players able to navigate through. Massive left wheel setup over here for Matt, but does find the long bar. Looking for, ooh, double L dependent. And it looks like he's just going to bring the board back over to the right-hand side. Coster with some concerning misdrops. Still survivable, but this gives Matt Martin an opportunity to try and get back in the lead. Coster is actually getting out of this really efficiently. Wow. Oh, the adjustment. Coster's going to get set up. Go for the skim so then he can get the perfect weld transfer if the eyepiece comes. And it does. And whoa. A little bit of a scary spire to have to maneuver around over there from Coster. Long bar dependent. Does get the eyepiece, but it doesn't burn. There was no line clear delay. Still trying to survive. Another misdrop. But it's still bringing the stack down. And getting eyepieces actually when he doesn't need them. What a survival from Coster. 328 to Matt Martin's 262. T-Spin was hit over there for Matt Martin. And is behind in line, so the game is a lot closer than what it appears. But, man, that survival from Coster was ridiculous. And a lot of weight is being put on that right-hand side over there for Coster. And an opportunity Matt Martin could have used to score at least one extra Tetris. Had to spend a couple of lines burning to get it Tetris ready. Coster preparing to, well, I'm not sure. Looked like he's considering going for the dirty left well. Really trying to not, really trying to not give Matt Martin any opportunity to close the gap by playing as aggressive as possible. Of course, is ahead in line, so pace-wise, things might be a little bit closer. Beautiful Z-spin over there for Matt. Goes for the Tetris and gets an eyepiece to fill in the dependency. I would just love a J or an S. There's the S. Has to go for the spin. Hits it. 402 to now 453. Left side's tad bit concerning over here for Matt. Goes for the triple. Long bar dependency created. And you can see things were eye-opener. Beautiful spin hit. A long bar would be great. Oh, that timing for Matt was perfect. But the transition hits over there for Coster. Beautiful flat, or S-flat over there for Matt. Well as open. Just waiting on the next long bar. 512 for Coster. Matt waiting on this long bar. Still waiting on this long bar. He's going to need it sooner than later. And can he get the eyepiece over? No, he can't. Hangs it at the last possible second on transition. Coster takes game number 2. I didn't realize that the drought was that long right there. Ian Keith sent a picture of the Gauntlet seat that he played on. 65 bars. That's terrible. We love Gauntlet RNG over here. Well, I'm sure the players don't, but I love commentating over it because it's funny. Until it gets in like the 50-60 drought territory. And then it doesn't become funny, it just becomes sad. But what's not sad is how we're getting into game number 3. Let's go ahead and get them counted down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. JLLJ opener. Interesting. Got a little palindrome there. A peace palindrome, if you will. Not like the documentary. If you know, you know. Ooh, interesting placement on that Z piece over there for Matt Martin. Way to think ahead. Matt Martin has to win this next game to extend the set. Coster needs to win this game to bring his team to an advantage. Ooh, nice spin over there. Both players a bit uncomfortable. Matt Martin uncomfortable is more like, I'd rather not be in this position, but it's fine. Coster fixes everything up with a delayed Vitz, so it doesn't even matter. And oh, accidental pullback over there for Matt. Matt's gonna have an early top out at 103. Coster is good and sweeps. Stochastic squad leads the set 2-1. Now it's gonna come all down to the captains. Do we see a sudden death, or does Stochastic squad continue to be the strong team that they have been so far this season? Don't go anywhere, because we're going to be answering those questions momentarily. There's still a chance for sudden death. Y'all warm up. I gotta do something real quick. So, I'll be right back. Looks like we got it ready from Sam Finch. Once we have it ready from Noah, and we can get things underway. All right. Both players are in fact ready. Make sure you have 39 super kill screen turned on, as that is the rule set that we play under. All right. Both players ready. Let's go and get them counted down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Sam Finch has to win this to bring us to a sudden death. And Noah has to win this to take the match for the Stochastic squad. So sudden death is still possible. Both players got some Tetrises on the board. Noah has 2, Sam has 1. Small adjustment. Nothing too serious over there on Sam's side. Looking for an L or a J. Finds the L. No corresponding J, unfortunately. And gonna set up the delayed Vits. Is hoping for good pieces to help build up the left side. And throughout all of that, only had to burn 1 line. So, depending on who you ask, it could have been worth it in a sense. But also very creative play from Sam. in order to manage those pieces in such a way to only one burn line was necessary. Noah, on the other hand, with a 1 Tetris lead as both players are at identical line counts. Noah actually holding out for specific pieces, opting to really take his time getting Tetris ready. Sam Finch has actually closed the gap, and Noah's going to be forced to burn here. So, another skim. Well, if we had seen another skim at that moment in time, we'd have found ourselves in a tie position. But 233 to 232. It could almost not get any closer. I feel like that was such a weird way to word that sentence, but you guys get the point. Both players having to survive up top. Noah actually in a little bit of a precarious situation. This could be wraps. Noah hangs the R on the left. Sam Finch at 284 is good for game number 1. Welcome in, DJ Mr. Boro. Just in time for the captain's match, which, speaking of, I need to ping the Discord. If you want to join the Gauntlet Discord, !Gauntlet. Got it ready from Noah. And we got it ready from Sam Finch. Let's go. That does not work. Let's go and get them kind of down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Another Vis was set up over here from Sam Finch. But players actually having to take a few burns here in the beginning. Pretty equal standing so far. Sam Finch has been able to... Oh, nice last second adjustment on the S. Up that high too. Gotta appreciate those kind of adjustments. It's easy to do when your board's at half height, but when you're up that high and to be able to execute it accurately, truly some skill involved. 124 for Sam, 98, make that 120 for Noah. And these pieces aren't necessarily the best for Sam. Yeah. Both players actually with pretty identical formations in the stack. Neither player able to score Tetris throughout this entire debacle. $163 now for Sam Finch. Noah's actually taking the lead, 182. Both players managing to get out of the situation at the same time, and oh, Noah didn't have an opportunity to utilize that eyepiece for a Tetris. As a matter of fact, the well is now open for Noah. Covered it back up right as soon as the long bar came. There's another long bar, couldn't be used. Well is open, third time's the charm. Guess not in this case. Covers up the well every single time the long bar comes. Really trying to avoid doing that this time and succeeds. Noah finally knocks down this Tetris. 241 for Noah, 257 for Sam. But as the things stand, it's pretty standard stacking here now, at least. Sam Finch has managed to take the lead by 60,000 points. Give or take a Tetris. Putting out for the right pieces to get set up for the next one. As Noah is able to utilize that opportunity to close the gap quite quickly, I might add. Tetris for Sam. Oh, that O piece is actually perfectly timed. The corresponding pieces after, however, were not. Sam might potentially be setting up here. Set up for the Tetris, knocks down a dirty. Continuing to keep the pressure applied to Noah. But Noah knocks down a Tetris, taking the lead. Sam does get the well open. Covers it up temporarily. Noah did not have enough material on the board in order to score Tetris. And that's not a Tetris, that's a triple. $421 now for Sam Finch. $456 for Noah. The level 19 transition is on its way. One more Tetris is available for both players. And there it is. Sam takes us in the transition first with a 470. Noah with a 505. Follows up shortly after. Sam finds the first Tetris in the post-transition and Noah responds. 2 Tetrises is what separates them here in the beginning of level 19. Sam's going to be looking for a J piece. Needs another one, actually. Holding out, doesn't find it, so has to use the I piece to fill in the dependency. But a Tetris is scored, and Sam's going to catch back up. Noah has to deal with this left-hand side as Sam knocks in a Tetris and takes the lead. Another Tetris for Sam. Noah's in danger. Able to get pieces over to the left and to the right. Still has to burn out a double. Nicely done. The left side gets reopened, but the rotation is missed over there for Noah. It gets dead dropped down the center. Noah needs a J piece, finds the J piece, finds the O, finding ways to navigate through this. Nice rotation on the T piece. Still needs an L piece to survive. And pieces are just not falling in his favor. Noah's doing the best that he can, rolling pieces to the left, to the right, but it's not going to be to any avail. Noah's going to top it at 569. Sam Finch takes game number 2 and is 1 game away from forcing a sudden death. All right, we got it ready from Noah. So need it ready from Sam Finch, and we're good to go into game number 3. All right, both players are ready. Let's go ahead and get them counted down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. It appears that we are, in fact, on the same piece sets. Sam Finch has brought us to a match point in his favor, which if he wins this game, the set gets equalized and we head into a sudden death. However, if Noah can win this game, extend the set, there's still an opportunity for Stochastic Squad to close this out. Start things off pretty even here, separated by half a single. Speaking of, hold on one second. So I want to talk about the grips that both of these players do for rolling, because see, Noah's more like horizontal, or not Noah, it's horizontal. Sam Finch is more like horizontal, like it just glides over, while Noah is more vertical. There's plenty of different roll grips, but you know, just looking at the way that Sam rolls, it's just like so smooth. Seems almost seamless. Just like these scores for both of these players, 255 for Noah, 231 for Sam. Scratch that, 254. About as close as you can get. About players intentionally trying to tie. Another Tetris for Sam Finch. $372 now for Sam Finch, $349 for Noah. You'll see there was a small hesitation over there for Sam Finch. And just because of thinking where to accurately place these pieces. About 2/3 through the level 18 portion of the game. Beautiful S-flat over there for Sam. Maintaining a high degree of efficiency. Oh, wow. That was such a great burn on the J piece. Wow, that was actually fantastic. 466 for Sam, 445 for Noah. And both players on track for a 600k transition. 539 now for Noah, 581 for Sam. Sam looking to close this out here and now and bring us to a sudden death. There's a transition for Sam. 616. Noah can try and grab one more. And Noah's going to transition at 617. 1,000 points separating them here. Nice intentional long bar dependency creation right there to be immediately filled a piece later. Noah at 667, taking the lead with that Tetris. Sam Finch looking for the ideal piece to get the well open, and so far hasn't been finding success, being forced to do these burns. RNG is only playing out in his favor as Noah's not been finding the long bar to get Tetris ready. As a matter of fact, Noah hangs a piece over to the left, column 4, still can maneuver pieces around it, but needs to be careful. The hang! Noah tops it at 694. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam clutches out game number 3. We're going to a sudden death. So many freaking sudden deaths this season, the second half. That being said, we're going to head to our intermission while we get sudden death set up. Don't go anywhere. The conclusion of this exciting match is nearby. All right, looks like we got our orders. We just need our first 2 players to start readying up, and then we can get things underway. All right, we got it ready from our Stochastic squad player. We just need it ready from our player from the Rogues. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, frick. We still got ads going, so gotta wait 1 minute. There we go. All right, 20 more seconds. All right, for your first game of Sudden Death, we're gonna go ahead and get our two players counted down. We're gonna have a rematch between Sam Finch and Noah. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Under the regular season rules for Sudden Death, there is no same piece sets. So players are going to have to play with a little bit of added risk. What is a bits over there from Sam Finch? This is a very pivotal round. Both of the captains are playing here. The strongest player in each of these lineups. And the success of their team here in Sudden Death depends on how they do in this best of one. Start things off, Noah, dependent on an L piece, does find it. Nice adjustment over there from Sam Finch. 117 to now 93,000. Noah being forced to take some burns. Tetris for Sam Finch goes up to 165. Close game to start things off here so far. Identical paces. Sam Finch forced to take burns. And remember, this is only one game. There is no second chances. You make a mistake here, it's forever etched in the history books. That is this season. And you're going to have to rely on the team, the rest of your team, to compensate. 193 to 193. Both players keep things nice and cordial. Oh! Misdrop over there for Noah. Can only hit one tuck. In down stacking mode, Eyepiece finds his way all the way over to the left. Small scare there. Not out of it entirely. Looking for a couple of pieces. Noah, a couple of hangs over to the left, needs an eyepiece, finds it, that burns a double, but is that going to be enough? Piece is finding his way over to the left, no way! Clutch survival over here from Noah in Sudden Death. Holy cow, he actually survives that. The well just needs to be open, and the Tetris can be scored. And there it is, Noah survives. 237 for Noah, 330 for Sam Finch. Sam Finch giving the little thumbs up of approval. Acknowledging that this game of Sudden Death is not going to be that easy to win. but wow. Tremendous effort, tremendous precision over there. And the execution for Noah was absolutely perfect up top. However, we are experiencing some execution issues here. And this is going to give Sam Finch an opportunity to increase his lead even further. Already up by nearly 100,000 points. And has a clean stack to capitalize off of the slight slowdown on Noah's part. There's Tetris for Sam Finch. $471 to now $343. We are closing in on level 19. And, ooh, a little bit of an overflip over there from Sam Finch. Might put a small damper on the scoring potential. Noah's not going to be able to recuperate the deficit entirely before level 19. But a small window of opportunity could have opened. And, oh, another double flip over there from Sam Finch. Post-transition is on its way. Noah transitions at 444. Sam Finch will transition after the next two line clears. Sets up for the column 8, actually. And Sam Finch is going to take us into transition on his part at 582. 100,000 points, just about is what separates us here. Noah already on level 20 and is starting to score. Sam Finch on level 19. Another Tetris for Noah, but a hole was generated over there on row 3. So he's not going to be able to score until that is dealt with or decides to go on top. Sam Finch takes a disciplined triple into a Tetris. 618 now for Sam Finch. Beautiful tuck on the tee into another Tetris. Continuing to put the pressure on Noah, maintaining this 100,000 point lead. However, Noah's not one to back down. As a matter of fact, he's trying to pick things up. 577 now for Noah. Another Tetris going to bring him up to 604. Where Sam answers back with one of his own. 696. Left side has been built up for Noah. Is he going to commit to this? No, he's going to continue to stay on the right-hand side. Nice burn. Looking for the L piece. Does find it. Tetris ready as both players. Sam Finch takes a disciplined triple into a Tetris. Still holding on to this 100,000 point lead. Or just under 100,000 point lead. However, we might experience a slowdown. Sam Finch was not getting that L piece for quite some time. But able to hold out just long enough and be fine. 765 to now 670. Another Tetris for Noah goes up to 700 flat. $794 for Sam Finch now. Level 23. Another Tetris brings him up to 824. Noah hot on his tails though. 761 down by 2 Tetrises. However, is ahead by nearly a full level. Another Tetris going to be scored for Noah. Another Tetris scored for Sam Finch. 885 to now 792. Both players level 25. Left side is being addressed over there for Noah. Long, or not long bar. J-piece dependency. Able to get the J-piece all the way over. Goes for the flat eye burn. Decides smartly not to use it to create a barrier for him to get pieces over to the right-hand side. Beautiful play in the nick of time right there for Noah. 2 quick Tetrises brings him in the level 27 at 871. However, Sam Finch having to deal with some complicated pieces, but no, those pieces are perfect. Just what Sam Finch was looking for, now looking for the next eyepiece. 981 to now 906. Noah looking for pieces to help that left side out. Sam has max. There's a million points. A17. Knocks down another Tetris. Does get the J piece. Level 29 is almost here for Noah. Sam Finch Oh, nice last-second adjustment into a Tetris. A90. Noah goes to 29. 988. One more Tetris remains for Sam Finch. B25. He's going to make Noah work for this. Noah has maxed out. Sam Finch set up for one last Tetris. Knocks it down. B62 for Sam Finch. And is set up for another Tetris. Knocks that down as well. B98. Noah was able to find one Tetris as Sam sets up for another. But pieces are getting a little bit rough. But players now having to do some compromises, having to burn the stack down. Sam Finch bringing the board down towards the bottom. Noah has to survive this. He's the captain for the team. He's their hope to give them the advantage here in sudden death. Trying to find ways to burn down. Can't get the S-piece all the way over to the right. A51 is not enough. Sam Finch clutches out game 1 of sudden death. The Rogues are now at match point. I'm going to get things set up for our second game. There is still hope for the Stochastic squad, but they're going to have to dig deep to dig themselves out of this hole. When both players are ready, we can get game number 2 of sudden death underway. All right. Both of our players are, in fact, ready. Let's go ahead and get them counted down. Game number 2 of Sudden Death is going to feature, yet again, another rematch between Matt Martin and Coster. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Once again, these players face off against each other in what could be the last game of this match. But it's up to Coster in order to defeat Matt Martin. When it comes to sudden death, Matt Martin doesn't play. But as of right now, both players are in a more or less comfortable position. Ooh, Coster going for the delayed Vits. Very bold move. Deciding not to burn it out either, is going to commit to it. Does get one eyepiece, but does the second one come in enough frequency to justify going for such an aggressive placement and sudden death? Hang of the Z to the left. It's going to slow things down a bit. Coster now having to find ways to kind of bring the stack back under control. Matt Martin going to be able to utilize this opportunity, build up a lead. Things stand, Matt Martin, comfortable board. Coster having to maneuver around a Spire. Does get an eyepiece. A much welcome eyepiece. $205 now for Coster, $255 for Matt Martin. The glare of intensity can be seen on both of these players' faces. Some conservative burns over here for Matt. Appears to be running into a drought. Able to get that piece all the way over to the left. Needs an eyepiece and needs it now. Not going to wait for it. Not willing to play that gamble with RNG. And the patient burns working out for Matt so far. Staying alive. Well as open up here for Matt. Coster knocks in a Tetris, temporarily takes the lead, but Matt takes it right back. Great survival on Matt's part. Very tricky situation to deal with those pieces. As Coster knocks down another Tetris. 305 to now 324. And Coster, a bit uncomfortable here. That S piece not too favorable, but able to get it in its desired location towards the left. This is another opportunity for Matt. Coster does get the well reopened. Taking the necessary burns, and so is Matt. Not going too aggressive. 397 and now 340. Another Tetris for Coster brings him up to 363. So Matt Martin will lead by anywhere from 1 to 2 Tetrises. Very tense stuff here. Both players knock down a Tetris. Nice spin over there for Coster. Players have 5 Tetrises remaining. Make that 3 for Coster. And now 4 for Matt Martin as he waits on this next long bar, whenever it might be. And he was forced to wait a while. Matt Martin's in dire need of a long bar. It has to come right now. And covers up the well at the worst possible second. Not able to roll switch. And Coster already surpassing the score at 479. Ties us up in sudden death, meaning it comes down to our third player. That being said, we're going to get our final game for today set up. Will the Rogues even out their record? We're Stochastic Squad at another win to their accolades. We're about to find out. All right, and both of our last two players are ready. We can get this final match counted down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for your final match, a sudden death, the conclusion of this exhilarating roller coaster that has been this game. Let's go ahead and get them counted down as we have, once again, another rematch. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Firedox versus Ian Keith. Firedox's debut as a Ruby. Ian Keith looking for redemption for what happened in Game 5. Start things off. Both players have already scored a couple of Tetrises. Firedox has scored 3. This is it. Game number 5 of sudden death. There are no more chances, no more games. You leave it all on the Matrix. Here and now. Tetris is going to be scored over there for Ian Keith. Firedox off to a flawless opener. Ian Keith forced to take some burns. In desperate need of an L piece, was unable to find it. What a genius way to burn that T piece. Still not out the woods yet. Fantastic plays over there from Ian Keith. Stays alive here at sudden death. $128 now for Ian Keith. Firedox actually ran into a bit of a slowdown and, ooh, is going to set up for a center well. Knocks it down and gets the perfect well transfer. Ian Keith not comfortable with these pieces. Going to go ahead and take the extra conservative burns. Only trails by 2 Tetrises at this point in the game. The Rogues made a name for themselves at the beginning of the season due to their prowess and sudden death up against the Millionaires. $166 now for Ian Keith. $264 for Firedox. 100,000 point lead has been built up over the time that Ian Keith has spent surviving. Anything can happen. Well, players really clean stacks here, and Ian Keith actually going S-piece to the left. Forced to take a triple, but the well has been reopened. Simo Tetris, 357 for Firedox, 264 for Ian Keith. $287 right now for Ian Keith. This is getting a bit concerning. Well is covered. Ian Keith has to bring the stack down. Able to get the quick tap. Still alive. Would love a J piece. That I piece will do. The well is now open. And a third I piece for the Tetris. That's the second time Ian Keith has cheated death in this game. How much more can he afford? 412 for Firedox, 343 for Ian Keith. Players are locked in. We're closing in on the level 19 transition. This is it. Three Tetrises available for Ian Keith. 4 Tetrises available for Firedox with perfect play. Ian Keith forced to compromise. These pieces are not what he's looking for. That eye piece is going to help. We'll love another eye piece. Go for a split triple. Bring the stack down. These pieces are not what Ian Keith is looking for. That split triple is going to help. Make the stack more manageable. A third eye. There it is. Ian Keith transitions. 467. Firedox bringing the stack down. Wants some more manageable position. One more Tetris remains. We've been in this situation before with this exact same pair of transition for Firedox. 541. Center wall Tetris for Ian Keefe. And he's going to bring it all the way down to the bottom. Firedox knocks in a Tetris. 565, a 3 Tetris lead. Potentially 4. Even more based on how these players are separated in terms of line count. Ian Keefe really focusing on building out that left. Tetris ready. Able to get the O piece over. Keeping the well open. Doing everything that he can. Finds the long bar, knocks down Tetris, but now has to clean up. Firedox potentially trying to get set up for something, but that's going to be a split triple at best. Ian Keefe finding a way to navigate down. Deciding not to use the T-piece to help burn out these holes. Firedox has gotten the board back under control. Ian Keefe gets access to one of those holes on row 1. Firedox almost back up to 100,000 point lead. A little bit of indecision there, but the accurate placement was found. Ian Keefe, left side. Problematic. Ian Keefe's just going to burn down. Firedox, 638. Takes the triple. Ian Keefe, small misdrop. That was the spider. 560 now for Ian Keefe. Firedox is in trouble. Knees dumped over to the left. Firedox tops out. 645. Ian Keefe needs 646. The chase down is within his grasp. Plenty of time to do so. 646 is the score needed. He's setting up for a column 8. Long bar nowhere to be found. Just gonna burn it down. At this point, 2 Tetrises will do it. Ian Keefe, once again, running into problems. 1 Tetris is all that's needed. Plenty of lines to do so. Firedox can only sit and watch in anticipation. Does Ian Keefe complete this chase down? Dependency was built. Not going to find the pieces for it. Oh, a little bit of shakiness on the dash there. 15,000 points remain. Ian Keefe, shaky dash. Misdrops are cascading on top of each other. And the hang. Firedox clutches out. Game number 3 is sudden death. Stochastic squad take it 3-2. Came down to the wire. And in his debut as a Ruby player, his return to playing for his team this season, Firedox has shown up in a big way. Stochastic squad are now 7-4, and the Rogues drop down to 5-7. What a game. What a match. Absolutely ridiculous. Wow. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for your matchup between the Rogues and the Stochastic squad. Here in the second half of the season, there are no easy matches. These past few matches have been hard fought by every team. And I can't wait for the playoffs. But that's going to do it. That's going to do it for today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, of course, everyone, the main party watching on Twitch, hope you all had a blast. That being said, I'm going to end the streams over there. We're going to find someone to raid.